This video is proudly sponsored by Gamersgate. Download games anytime, anywhere. Visit Gamersgate.com.
Welcome to Elder Geeks Elder Speak. Today is Tuesday, May 29th, 2012. My name is Randy Yasenchak, editor of ElderGeek.com. With me today, I have Mats Polska. I don't know, what do you normally do there over in Norway? You just make sure that the trolls don't take over?
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, he's back on the show again today, everybody.
Surprise, surprise.
I'm back on the show, too. Back from my little hiatus. Thanks everybody for being super patient with me during my absence. I saw there were a few comments asking why there was no Elder Speak and where we went, etc., etc. Fear not, we have not gone anywhere. I just had a baby. That's all. Hey, that happened.
How's the little guy doing, by the way?
He's doing really well. He wets everything, and yeah. That's pretty much what he does. He wets and cries and sleeps, and we feed him.
See, what he's doing is he's going around the apartment, you know, marking his territory. So what you have to do is you have to establish dominance very, very early, or else it's just going to run all over the place and just take over everything.
You know, honestly, this sounds so weird, but I'm finding myself like cursing out like diaper companies because some of them work really well and some of them don't work at all. And then I thought to myself, like, how freaking primitive just the concept of a diaper is. It's like, I'm gonna throw a rag over a baby so he doesn't pee on sofa.
I mean, how come we haven't really figured out a way to have like a disposable, or not disposable, but like a, I don't know, like a garbage. What do you call them? A garbage churner? You guys have those over there, don't you? A garbage disposal.
Like a garbage compactor?
Yeah. Just have that, just very, very small, and just incinerate all the crap that comes out.
See, what I want, I don't know why anybody has not, like, developed the, you remember the desert suits from Dune, where they just, like, take all of your feces and urine, and it circulates it all, and it filters everything, and it puts it back into your system? Why don't we have those yet?
Well, mainly because when not to go too much into the science of it, but when you crap, it's the body disposing of the things it can't use.
Not to go too far, but I do recall that in Dune that they had a separate pouch on their leg for feces. This is a geek talk now. This is not Disgustoid talk. But I do remember them saying that. I do remember reading that they actually had a specific pouch for that.
Oh, okay.
So. Yeah, so it wasn't like it all got filtered out into the same area, but still, I think we need to make like Dune desert suits for babies because they'd be a lot. I'm not saying that my son's not cuddly, but anyway, he'd be cuddlier if I didn't have to hold him sometimes like he's a weapon of mass destruction about to explode at any moment.
Now, I kind of have to ask because I have a couple of friends that have babies, right? And every time before they have the baby, it's always, oh, it's going to be so great. We're told it's so magical and you know everything. But I'm told that the 3 first months are. You're basically lied to keep the species alive so that you'll reproduce. You're basically lied to. You're said, oh, it's so magical, it's so great, but the 3 first months are supposed to be hell, and you sort of babies. Let's be honest, babies are assholes.
Well, we're lucky. My baby's not an asshole.
Okay.
Like I do know that there are some people out there that are very unlucky and they have babies that just cry for no reason. We lucked out. Our baby only cries when he's hungry or he's like made a mess of himself.
Oh, that's awesome.
And that's it. Like he doesn't cry out of boredom. So we're really lucky in that regard.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people that are unlucky about that. The real hell, I'm not trying to say that raising my child is hell here, but the real, like, the tough part, I should say, of doing this is babies at this age literally have to eat every 2 hours. And it's not like you just it's not like you throw a Pop-Tart at them, they nom away on it themselves, and you're good for the next couple of hours. Like, you've got to feed them, and that takes about 20 minutes. And then you got to change them, and that takes about 10 minutes. And then, like, you got to do, other things, like making sure they're clean, and then you got to lay them back down. So basically, in between that 2-hour period of when they start eating and when they need to eat again, you're wasting about 45 minutes. So you really only have about an hour and 15 minutes to try to sleep and do something for yourself in between feedings. So
and they're also basically like giant death traps, aren't they? Because no matter what they do, right, you're told that, well, you can't really leave them alone or let them have a blanket or anything in bed because they could choke.
No.
And they can't lie on their stomachs because they'll choke. And
no going outside for a month. No. I mean, you can go outside, but you can't like go to public places for like a month.
Yeah, because the immune system hasn't really developed yet.
Yep,
Yeah.
no immune system. You can't put in blankets and binkies and all that other kind of stuff. But I'll tell you what, this has been a big eye-opening experience for me because, as everybody knows, my PS3 had died just before before the baby arrived, and I was trying to wrap up everything that I could. I think I just finished up that Heroes and Generals previews, like that. I finished that job just in time before we had to go in and for delivery. But so I'm in hell because we canceled our cable because cable is ridiculously expensive, and a friend of mine actually got me a Roku HD, and it is without a doubt one of the coolest pieces of tech that has ever been given to me, and one of my favorite pieces of tech that I actually have in my house.
Now,
I totally recommend to everybody getting a Roku HD.
Now, just because of the culture divide, I'm going to have to ask, what the hell is a Roku HD?
It's this tiny little box. It's about $120. You can get a non-HD version for less, but it is literally a tiny little box that I could say is about the size of a hamburger. Okay, like a McDonald's hamburger.
Yep.
And you plug it into the back of your TV with an HDMI connector, and you sync it up with your wireless router in your house, and you can stream different services through it. So you can stream Netflix through it, you can stream HBO Go through it, you can stream.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we have those.
Like
up
a
here.
bunch of. Oh, you do?
Yeah, but you don't really have HBO and that kind of stuff. You have European stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I love it.
Awesome.
No, and there's no fee except for like whatever service you're subscribing to. So like if you're subscribing to Hulu Plus, you have to pay for Hulu Plus,
Oh, okay.
and then you can stream that, or you have to pay for Netflix and it'll stream through that.
Oh, so it's not like tied to the cable companies and stuff.
No, it's not tied to the cable companies at all, except for HBO, which is one of the bigger premium services over here. That's what plays Game of Thrones over here.
Yeah.
And I would love to do HBO Go, which is their streaming service, but they don't allow you to do HBO Go without doing their cable subscription, and you can't do a cable subscription without buying a big, huge cable package, which costs about $120 a month on the low end.
Yeah, I actually tried to get HBO because we don't have HBO up here, and because of all the shows they send and they produce, I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
they're the best possible network I could ever subscribe to, right? But they actually don't allow you to use HBO Go in Europe, or at least in Norway. So I'm sorry, I have to pirate.
Yeah, they don't allow you to do it here unless you pay for a standard subscription. If they just said, hey, we'll let you do HBO Go for $15 a month or $20 a month, I would gladly pay for HBO Go and completely skip the cable company entirely, because
They have so much good stuff.
They're like they're one of the few good channels. If I could do two channels, I would do them and FX probably.
Yeah, FX. Or I would actually, no, I don't know. I was gonna say Stars, but there's really only one show I like on Stars, which is Spartacus, and I think I think I've told you this before. It's more satisfying than it is good. So, I'm completely addicted to that show. But then again, I haven't really watched anything that Stars has otherwise. So, yeah.
Yeah, Stars, I think right now, I think they still have their agreement with Netflix. So if you have Netflix over here, I think you can
we don't.
see Stars shows. Oh, you don't?
We don't have Netflix. We don't have GameFly. We have none of that cool shit. Third world countries, I see. I'm telling you. Probably not, but yeah. When entertainment is introduced, that's how I think of it.
Yeah, but you also have like a what, 80 down, 20 up internet speed or something?
Yeah,
like that?
I can if I want to. It's not very expensive. I just don't. Why would I? I don't use it. So I need
We don't.
15 down and 6 up. I really need more up speed than down speed, just because of Elder Geek and stuff. So
yeah, streaming and uploading videos and uploading all that kind of stuff. But yeah, so that's Cool Tech Gizmo 1 for me was my my Roku, which I want to say a special thanks to the person that actually gave that to me. So thank you very much. That honestly, out of all the quote unquote baby gifts that we got, this is easily the one that we use the most, because when my wife and I go down to like feed him in the middle of the night, whichever one of us is on duty for that night, we'll just pop on an episode of like, I'll watch Scrubs or my wife will watch 30 Rock or something like that, and it's great. It like pauses and it picks right up where it left off. Now a lot of people are saying, oh, you can do that with your PS3, but my PS3 is broken, and so this is a wonderful kind of replacement for that until scrape together the cash to get another.
It's funny you should mention Scrubs because I've also been watching that lately again for like the 5th time, I think. So.
Are you serious? This is honestly my first time watching through it, and
so
I feel bad that I haven't watched it the first time when it was.
Oh, it's so good. It's so awesome.
I'm like season 5. There's like 10 seasons.
It only gets better. That's the thing. You never really get sick of it. There's
it reminds me a lot of. It's like a modern day MASH.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I was gonna say there's 8 seasons. There's actually 9 seasons, but the last one is just blasphemy. Don't watch the 9th one. Yeah, it's
really?
They replace all the actors and they bring in like a. It's Scrubs like year 1 or something. I don't know. It's like.
Oh.
Yeah,
God.
they have to be. All the actors are basically medical students again, and Dr. Cox and I think Turk are teachers. And and JD sort of comes in once in a while, but he's not really part of the show that much, which is a shame because he's really he's why you watch that show.
He's like the focal point of the show. Yeah, dude, that so reminds me of like on X-Files when David Duchovny left and they replaced it, Scully and Mulder with basically 2 other people, and it just was not the same.
I actually didn't watch it that far.
Oh, yeah, there was a point where David Duchovny wanted to go off and, further seek his film career outside of X-Files and stuff like that, and that's when the show took a turn for the worse, which is terrible because up to that point, that show was easily one of my favorite television shows on television.
Yeah, and
ever.
it's not like he has really done much great since then.
Well, now he's doing. Is Californication still on?
Oh, he's doing that.
That was like his last been.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You keep harping me to see that thing, and I've never actually sat down and watched it.
So yeah, but so the other piece of tech gear that I ended up picking up. My first duty after coming home from the hospital. So my first duty as an at-home dad was to wash my cell phone in the washing machine.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And so,
Facebook.
Yeah, I posted it on Facebook, and so I ended up getting an iPhone 4S to replace it, and this is me coming from a Droid X, by the way, so if in case anybody's wondering. And out of the 2, I've only had the iPhone 4S for a few days now, but I got to admit, up to now I like Droid, everything Droid better than iPhone so far. What I'm doing, like I feel too constricted with iPhone stuff. Like certainly it is a well-built device, and it's solidly built, and you can tell that there's a lot of polish done to it. And
it's the. I'd say the hardware and the ease of use is definitely iPhone or Apple's strong suit.
But I'm not afraid of how hard of how difficult something is to use. I'm a tinkerer. I like having freedom with my gizmos, and so I'm sure that once this phone sees the bottom of my washing machine, I'll probably replace it with a
Go for
again.
HTCs or Samsungs. Those are usually the best.
Yeah, it boiled down to Samsung's newest one, which I can't remember the name of it, or this one, and my wife wanted us to get iPhones, and so I thought, all right, why not? I'll give it a try. I've played with iPhones before, but never quite saw the magic in them, and I still don't see the huge magic behind them.
I had a 3GS back when that was new, and I had that for a year, I think, and then it's the weird thing is there's all this kerfuffle about how the iPhone 4G antenna was all kind of ruined at the launch of it. But actually, they had that problem earlier too. They had that problem with the 3DS as well, and or the 3D I should say. And I after a year I started really getting a lot of problems with that. So I bought a new one, and since my friend had a Xperia. Back before PlayStation got involved, those were actually really good, and I decided, hey, I want an Android phone as well, but I want one of the newer ones so that I'm future proofed as much as possible. So I got a HTC Desire HD, which has a huge 4.4-inch screen, like one of the biggest screens available in at the time. I think the new HTC has an even bigger screen, but it looked really beautiful, and it's all glass. It's none of that plastic shit, so it's really nice and weighty and cool. And I just best purchase I've made since I don't know. I don't know. It's just I've had it for 2 years now, I think, and I couldn't be happier. So yeah.
Nice. Oh, you know what? I said last Tech Gizmo, but I actually have one more Tech Gizmo that I want to talk about. This because I'm going to be doing a video review on this one, but I kind of want to like throw the teaser out there for when I actually do the video review for it. Not like you're going to be able to hear much from this video review or anything like that. But Rosewell actually sent over. Here, I want to read the name off the box properly, so I'm not screwing it up in case anybody wants to Google it at all. Rosewell sent over a 5.1 surround sound gaming headset with vibration. That's the official name of it. 5.1 surround sound gaming headset with vibration. And typical of like Rosewell products, you know, in terms of its visual appearance, it's not the finest looking piece of hardware I've owned. But how do I want to put this? It's like sex for my ears, basically.
Man.
It is honestly one of the coolest audio experiences I have ever had in my entire life in a pair of headphones. And this is coming from a guy who is like a diehard Bose headphones fan. Like I have not been wanting to use anything but Bose headphones for a long time. But so far it is a ridiculously cool experience. It's a standard headset, but it has, you know, the big puffy standard, you know, ear cups. And of course it has like the gaming mic. But what really makes it kind of stand out is the gaming mic itself is detachable, which is a huge plus for me because not every time I need to use my headphones do I need to use a microphone. And when you detach it, it just comes out with like a standard 3.5mm jack, which is really sweet. And the vibration, you can turn it on or off as much as you want, and it's actually controllable through an interface actually on the cable that goes to your PC. It's done by USB. But you can actually control how much vibration you actually get, how loud, you can mute your mic, you can mute your headphones, etc., all from like this little control switch on it. And when I first read about it, I was like, vibration in headphones? It sounds kind of dumb, but maybe it'll be neat. And I'm not gonna lie, I watched one of our video reviews with it on, and I was like, oh, I can't wait to use this for a game. I think I watched our Syndicate video review, and it was just so fantastic because like
that has dubstep tracks as well, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly. So it's the really, really deep bass that it picks up, and it does some vibration in your headset. And again, sounds kind of dumb, but when you try it, I don't think I can go back again. So I played through a bunch of levels on the single player of Battlefield 3, and it's almost like a completely new experience because like your gun sound makes a vibration in your head, and it, you know, it's almost like shooting an actual gun. Or I don't want to say it's like shooting an actual gun, but it's a more immersive feeling.
Nice.
You know, when the cannons go off, like the headphones vibrate. And
I gotta.
Go ahead.
That sounds really cool. I think I gotta get me one of those.
I don't know how much they are yet. I've been looking around. I don't think that it's out yet, and I can't say an official review of it or anything yet. But I have very few complaints about it. I do have some complaints about it, but honestly, just other stuff too. I was listening to some heavy metal today. I'm a big rock and metal fan, and that just out of headphones, I can't think of another experience that gets you closer to a concert experience, because when you're at a concert, you feel the music in your chest, from the big speakers and stuff there, and you don't get that from no matter how nice your headphones are. But vibrating headphones, I am all for, dude. And in fact, I want developers to take this a step further and think about when you can have your headphones vibrate with the game, kind of like how we have vibrating controllers. In fact, I would rather vibrating headphones than a vibrating controller. Or shit, do both.
I'm looking at Newegg right now, and it says it's $35, which is really cheap.
No, throw me a link.
It can't be, right? Hang on,
Throw me up a link. It might be without vibration or something.
Why can't I click this link? I'm at a deal comparing thing, and I can't. Hang on, I'll just send you the bargain link thingy. It's some weird website where they compare prices and stuff, and apparently I can't.
Oh, I'm not seeing it listed here.
Okay, maybe it's.
And I did a search for it on Newegg, and I couldn't find it.
It must be a fake site then. Yeah.
But
never mind. It can't possibly be that cheap, obviously, or else everyone would get one. So.
Oh, totally. If they were only $35, I would be like, stop what you're doing right now, stop this video right now, and go order a pair.
Yeah.
But considering they're Rosewill, they probably won't be that expensive because Rosewill, is always on the cheaper side of tech gear. But honestly, between that and the Roku, I don't know what's my favorite newest piece of tech gear. But yeah, it's gonna be tough. Now here's one of my complaints, and people that'll watch the video review will probably hear it. I wear glasses all the time. I don't wear contacts. I used to wear them quite a bit, but between my day job and running Elder Geek and stuff like that, I have to wear glasses, otherwise my eyes are just going to dry out like crazy, and it's just more comfortable for me to wear them all day long.
It makes you look like Gordon Freeman. So
it does. Plus I look like Gordon Freeman, and that's, my wife loves that. I mean, so because of that, I hate headphones that kind of squish you too much on your headphones because it hurts your head, and these do that a little bit, That's really it. The only way around it is to get headphones that don't go around your ears, but on your ears or in your ears.
Yeah, I used to have a headphone set a few years ago, I think, where it actually didn't go on top of your head. It went like behind, like on your neck, and it rested. And the thing rested on your neck, and it wrapped like the clocks, I guess, around your ears.
Yeah, those are a pain in the ass too, because the earpieces on my glasses go around my ears as well. So then you gotta jam two things around your ears, and so that gets uncomfortable. But before we actually get too far off the beaten path here, I'm looking at my time, and people are, by the way, people are just gonna be watching gameplay footage of Battlefield 3 single player, because that's really all I've been able to play. Oh, that's not true. I have been playing some Max Payne 3, and we can talk about that if you want to. But
do you have it on consoles?
I have it on 360. I lucked out. Gamefly sent it to me, and it was waiting for me in the mailbox when I got back from the hospital. And so I've been playing that during my off time in between feeding shifts at the 3 in the morning hour.
Yeah, because we actually got a review copy of that, but painfully and annoyingly enough, we got a PC copy, so we have to wait for it.
And that doesn't release until June.
Yeah, exactly.
So my opinion here is not going to be of everybody at Elder Geeks, and I don't even know if it'll be the official Elder Geek opinion. But so far, dude, I'm not that impressed.
Oh, really? Did you like the other two?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. I just find this to be a pretty average third-person shooter so far. I haven't gotten far. I think I'm at like chapter 5 or 6, but the story is ridiculously predictable so far.
Oh.
Actually one of my bigger complaints is the enemies on screen, they just seem like ridiculously tiny. Like I'm just getting shot by dudes and I have no idea where they are. And like the arrow's pointing to a destination on my screen. I'm like, there's nobody there. And I'm sitting really close to my screen. I'm not seeing anybody there. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's okay. It'll be a decent third-person shooter so far, and I don't care who disagrees with me, but I don't think it's any better than Uncharted or Gears 2.
Yeah, but those are really big. At least Uncharted, in my opinion, is a really big game to live up to, I guess.
I would put it between the scale of like Army of Two, the original, and Gears 2.
Oh wow.
I liked Army of Two, though.
Yeah, but it wasn't really a polished experience, I'd say.
Yeah, but it was still fun. It was like fun, mindless shooting dudes, and that's all this really feels like, is fun, mindless shooting dudes.
But how weird is it that you? When did Army of Two release? Like 3-4 years ago, maybe.
Probably, if not more than that.
Yeah. How weird is it? In these days when you have a shooter, you basically always have a co-op campaign, and if you don't, then there's something wrong with the shooter. But how weird is it that the big selling point of Army of Two was, hey, we have co-op,
Oh, I know, totally. Yeah. And it worked too. I don't care what anybody says. Army of Two is one of my guilty pleasure games.
Okay.
But dude, you were telling me about I've been under the radar. Literally, I have not been able to read anything. I think the only thing that I read about while I was away was about 38 Studios closing down.
Yeah.
And you were telling me about some Diablo fiasco?
Yeah, do you want to handle one thing at a time, perhaps?
Yeah, what should we do? Diablo fiasco or 38 Studios dying?
We can do the 38 Studios first, just because that seems like the big hot topic. So basically the story, if you don't have all the details, the story is that Kurt Schilling's studio, 38 Studios, surprisingly enough, had moved to Rhode Island to get tax benefits and a loan from the state of 75 million, and with interest though. So now it's like, by the time they're said to have paid the whole amount, which I think was 2025, it's supposed to be closer to 200 million. So that's pretty painful interest, right? But anyway, they couldn't make the payments, and I guess they made the payment now, but they had to fire their whole staff to do so. And so the 300 and something employees are now fired.
Because it wasn't just it wasn't just 38 studios. They also rolled in Big Huge Games, and now Big Huge Games is closed up as well.
Exactly, because they bought Big Huge Games to work on, or they had actually already started on an RPG, but they bought them and they converted the RPG they were working on at the time into Kingdoms of Amalur: Reckoning. And so, because they wanted to develop this whole universe to support their upcoming MMO project, Copernicus, in quotation marks, and I guess that didn't really work out. Technically, Kingdoms of Amalur was I'd say successful game. I mean, apparently they sold 1.4 million, which is decent.
Yeah, I would consider that to be a critical and probably a commercial success. Well, I guess it's not a commercial success if they've gone belly up, but critically it was a success. Fan wise, they thought it was a success, and it sold a ton of copies.
But apparently, the governor of Rhode Island, American politics aren't really my strong suit, but I can't remember his name. But he said that they had to reach 3 million sales to break even, and that the game was a failure, which just makes me think, what kind of management did that company have, where a game like that cost enough that you need to sell 3 million to break even? That just sounds impossible.
You've got to be a pretty big game to sell 3 million in the first place.
Exactly. You have to be. That's top 5, maybe top 10 in a year. And so you go up against all the big console hits and the Diablo 3 and those kinds of games, Call of Duty, and
you know what they really should have done? You know what would have saved them? If they set a pot under their asses and pushed it out 2 months before Skyrim. That was all they needed to do.
Yep.
Just 2 months before Skyrim, and every RPG nut out there just chomping at the bit for more Western RPG action would have bought that in a heartbeat, just to tide them over before Skyrim arrived.
Yeah, that's the thing, because when Kingdoms of Amalur came out, people were still playing Skyrim, and still, and I guess there's many people still are, locked into that world, and still, I still haven't finished more than one quest chain in that game, because I just keep wasting time in it, exploring. But you really. So what they did is they asked people to leave the little free time they probably had to Kingdoms of Amalur when they still had Skyrim to play. And that's just an impossible proposition when you have a game that's, in every sense, a better game. I mean, in every polish... I'm sorry if you disagree, and I know a lot of our listeners will. I know one person in particular, and he'll probably know. But, yeah, I gotta say that it's a better game, right? And
it is, and here's basically what it boiled down to. I thought that Amalur was decent, but it was definitely the result of group thinking.
Yeah.
This was not like it was not one person's baby. This was death by committee.
Well, it's,
and the only thing that they all seemed like they agreed on was they wanted to have God of War battle, stuff. That was it. They just wanted to have a God of War battle or a combat mechanics, and then the rest was all kind of up in the air. It did not use any of their talent to their fullest potential at all.
But the development time was also really long for that. I can't remember exactly how many years, but it's really hard to have one person's vision shine through when you really have so many years in development, and you sort of because people come and go, right, and the project continues, so it's hard to keep that same vision. So I definitely understand how it might have gone awry, but it's a shame, really. I mean, no doubt a lot of it was a beautiful looking game, right? So no doubt they had a lot of good designers and stuff. It just the whole thing just didn't come together the right list.
No. It wasn't a bad game. It just wasn't a phenomenal game, and that was in the end what did put the final nail. I
gotta say, so. I think regardless of the game, I think just the fact that they had to sell 3 million to break even, that just sounds like bad management and bad resource management.
That's too big of a gamble. If that's way too big of a gamble. 3 million units.
And the hinge.
3 million units, and you would think that if you wanted to sell 3 million units, you would also have a lot more of an aggressive advertising campaign as well. You know, if you needed to sell 3 million units, you'd think you would take a chunk of your budget and put it towards just running ads for 2 weeks on television, almost every other slot that you could between Sci-Fi Channel and G4 or something like that, just plugging the hell out of this game.
And I mean, the first time we really saw the game properly was at E3 before. So last year's E3, and that's not really. I hate when games get announced too soon and shown too soon, but at the same time, that's not really enough time to build up the kind of hype you need for 3 million plus units. You either have to be Call of Duty or you have to announce at least 2 years in advance, and they didn't do that. I guess they announced, but a teaser title screen isn't really an announcement in my opinion. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I didn't love the game. I didn't hate the game. I think the biggest, saddest part about it is, like, one, the number of people that actually got laid off, and two, the fact that, now only the big dogs once again are thriving in the pen. It would be nice for smaller companies like this, and I'm not saying that this was a small company, but it is a smaller company to be able to boil up and create something kind of special.
Yeah. Moving on though, another big story that hit, and something I was actually very frustrated over, was the whole Diablo 3 kerfuffle. And I know this horse, as well as the 38 Studios one, has probably been beaten to death. But since we've been gone for about 2 weeks, I figured.
And seriously, I did not know about any of this stuff because I was in a hospital and didn't know. I still don't know what this Diablo story is.
So
hit me.
Here's the thing. Diablo 3 was supposed to release on the 15th of this month, and a lot of people, like myself, took some days off, pre-ordered the game. I actually got a review copy, but people pre-ordered the game and really wanted to hunker down and play some good old Diablo, right? And so what happened was the first 2 days were unplayable, basically. Either you didn't get into the game. Just because of server errors that have now become infamous memes, or you got into the game, but it was just such a laggy experience because it's like an MMO. Even though you play it ostensibly in a single player mode, it's like an MMO where everything you do has to be relayed back to the server. So you would click a spell and you would have to wait a minute, or not a minute, but a few seconds for it to actually activate on the worst parts. And so for 2 days you basically couldn't play it at all, and then there were another 2-3 days where the experience was really shaky. And sometimes, at least here in Europe for me, sometimes you would get kicked out of the server, so you'd be in the middle of a dungeon and get kicked out, and when you got back in, you had all your items and XP, but you were reset back to the start of the dungeon, which is a pain in the ass. Especially when you're playing the game for review and you really have to get as far as possible, as quickly as possible to get the review out. And so, which is a huge mess. And Blizzard apologized and said, this shouldn't be a problem anymore after 2 days, I think. But it's still kind of, it was.
Even now, it's still
now it's mostly good, but now it's been like 2 weeks, right? So,
yeah.
But the first week in general, just horrible.
That's sad. But you kind of. I could have predicted it, man. There were so many people that were excited about Diablo 3 that I couldn't help but wonder. It's like, I don't remember this many. I mean, I remember people being excited about Diablo 1 and 2, but I know a lot of you people probably weren't even around to play Diablo 1 or 2. So why are you this excited about it?
Hype machine, basically. All the. Yeah. Remember when Diablo 2 released? Blizzard was not a small company, but a fairly modest company, right?
Yeah, they were strong.
Yeah, but they weren't Blizzard, right? They weren't they weren't WoW money, right? So since then they've had almost, I think their top numbers are like 11 or 12 million players on WoW, and so they have like a fan base that follows and does everything Blizzard or consumes everything Blizzard releases, which I think was part of the reason Diablo 3 got so huge. But you know, I don't really think that's an excuse, because they had betas for like a year before the game released, and they had during the open beta weekend they have had massive server problems, and that was I want to say 1.5 day where their servers were unplayable during the beta weekend, and they, you know, they had the pre-order numbers and all that stuff, so they must have been able to predict how many people would log on at, you know, 12:01 on the 15th. So
everyone, yeah.
yeah.
Wow.
So long story short, my review was actually one of the first ones out.
But people were still kind of like, it finally came out, because I did get to like read a few things on our video reviews, like on our iPad out there, but it was like really, we weren't that late, were we?
No, actually we were kind of early compared to many other outlets. I think I only saw like Eurogamer and a couple other European outlets release their reviews, but they just did written ones, and we were one of the first
video ones,
and
it was a damn fine job.
Thank you. Sir. But yeah, it still got. I was still actually hoping to get it done by the end of the weekend. Yet it went up on Thursday. So.
Oh my God. Yeah, and that's a shame. And this is not me saying anything about you. And I know that this has a lot to do with, you know, the server issues and stuff that happened at first. But it's Diablo.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's not like a terribly deep experience of a game. I'm sure there's a lot of people that find it addictive and stuff like that, but it can't be too far off of the beaten path from Diablo 1 and 2.
It's you know, the actual gameplay mechanics and stuff very, very, very improved upon. But it's not a new game, you know. It's Diablo, and you know, the desert experience in particular in Act 2 is, you know, it's the desert experience in Act 2 in Diablo 2 as well. So.
No, it even looked the same. I was seeing clips of it in the video review. I was like, that looks oddly similar to the desert part in Diablo 2, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever. I'd say it's a little bit longer than the one in. I see people complaining about how short the game is, and granted, when I played through it on Nightmare and Hell mode, I still haven't reached Inferno, by the way. I did it a lot quicker, but I actually used like 10-12 hours on my first playthrough. Just because I'm a completionist, you know.
That's a pretty good amount of time.
I think that's. I mean, Diablo 2 was way shorter than that, so I think that's, you know, a good, decent period, right?
Yeah.
Because, you know, I explored all the different, you know, side dungeons and mini quests and stuff like that. So maybe, you know, I artificially lengthened the game that way, but I really think that the first time you play it, you want to play it that way, and you want to play it single player, most importantly of all. Even though the story is definitely the worst part of Diablo, I think you really want to experience it anyway, just because, I don't know, it feels like an obligation, you know.
Yeah. Oh, I'm having warm flashbacks to Diablo 2 install discs now. You know, you had the option to install the full game or install the game without the cinematics, and then, you know, of course, when the cinematics would come on, your CD-ROM would just spin up like a Harrier jet inside your desk just to keep up with what was on screen.
I want to say, though, that
those were the days.
I want to say that even though the story is pretty terrible, or at least the storytelling is pretty terrible in Diablo 3, the cinematics are just wow. Oh God, they're in.
Yeah, they've always been like that. All like that. Blizzard always just does awesome cinematics.
Yep. Since Diablo 2 or Warcraft.
God, even before. Yeah, I was gonna say like Warcraft had some pretty badass ones too back in the day. So, well, hey man, I'm back, and I guess to everybody else out there that's listening to this that's gotten this far in, I'm gonna try to do as many Elder Speaks as I can on a daily basis from here on out. But just as a gentle reminder, there's my wife and I have a new roommate, and he doesn't pay rent. He eats a lot of food, and I might not have as much time to be able to do daily Elder Speaks, but I'm going to do as best I can. As for right now, I definitely need to get back in and catch up on gaming news over the past couple of weeks and make sure that I'm back up to snuff before I start really reporting more on it. So patience with me, and I promise everything is going to be back up to snuff before we know it.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. All right, that's it for me and Mott's today. Probably going to be hearing from us again tomorrow. Be sure, coming up soon, like I said, there's going to be a Rosewell 5.1 surround sound gaming headset with vibration video review coming sometime in the near future. Not going to be this weekend, but sometime in the near future. Motts, you working on anything right now, man?
I actually passed on, because I'm so stupid. I thought Max Payne was coming out, or I thought I would be able to play Max Payne on the 15th. So I passed that off to Trevor. So I don't have any projects right now, but Trevor's going to have a video review of Max Payne 3 pretty soon. So it unlocks tomorrow or in 2 days, I think. So
something like that, yeah. Awesome. Everybody, happy Memorial Day weekend to you all. Hope you all had nice, safe weekends and at least got to do some barbecuing, grilling, and some spirited beverage drinking as well. Motts, good talking to you again, buddy.
Yep, you too, man.
All right, take care, everybody. I'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Later.